Good morning, guys. I'm Shift, trying out this POV view, trying to see if it actually works. It's a Sunday morning, right about 8 o'clock, a little past that, and just going up with a couple of buddies of mine, one of my coworkers at Porsche, and Jimmy, infamous Jamie of Sociology of Everything, and we're just going up Angeles Crest, trying to see if it's fully open. We just heard that it might be closed, because we're trying to go all the way through to Wrightwood, but we'll see how this goes. This will be primarily just a drive, not anything at a crazy pace, just feeling it out, seeing how it goes. So for those of you that haven't ever been to Angeles Crest, it's a very popular LA destination road. Highway 2 is the other name for it. And another one, ACH. It's been very, I would say over the last 20 years, I wasn't really gonna say 30. My dad used to ride up here back in the day. Motorcycles. He had a lot of sport bikes, and back then, wide open, hardly anyone drove this road. Some commuters, but not that much. Then over the years, more and more people, due to inflation, costs of housing and all that stuff, just started living further and further away, but then they would commute into LA, the city, or at least on this side of the mountain anyway, from like Palmdale and Lancaster and all that. And some still do, because you can still afford a house out there, opposed to near the LA downtown area and surrounding city. But it has become so popular, in fact, that more and more people are starting to come here, and I think it has a combination to do with journalists and influencers on YouTube, and just people talking about ACH, doing drives up ACH, reviews at ACH. There's a lot going on social media at ACH. We got a lot of rocks. There you go. That's what I was a little worried about, but keep an eye out. Anyway, so due to that popularity, it's kind of burning the spot, because more and more people are now coming up here thinking it's a racetrack, and they are crashing, unfortunately. And there's been a crash consistently almost every week, to the point to where CHP is starting to take notice, and they are not liking it. And now it's at the point to where you can't really just drive up here. If you're just a regular enthusiast that loves to drive, you just want to enjoy the open road, you're not trying to toge battle anybody up here, you're not trying to speed like all hell, like a demon out of hell, you're just trying to just enjoy a morning drive like we are here on a Sunday. And unfortunately, we're all look the same. The takeover crew, I started to see them come up here. They're starting to go over to turnouts and do their thing. So unfortunately, Highway Patrol looks at us all the same. It is what it is. But I don't blame them, because if they see a loud car, bright color, slam to the floor, loud exhaust, I mean, in a way, they're just calling attention to themselves. But even if, now this is what's surprising, stock cars are starting to get pulled over. So it's not even that it's only limited to, you know, specifically to modified cars. It's been branching out to cars that are also just, I don't know, they look like race cars. I mean, how are you going to tell the cop to distinguish the difference? They honestly don't know the difference. They're just doing their job. But at the same time, at what cost? Alright, I'm trying to get these vents. There we go. But at what cost? So now, if you're even in a stock Miata, you know, with a vibrant color, you're probably going to get popped up here in ACH. My buddy in the lead car, he has the brightest color option that they came with in the BRZ, among the brightest. Now if any of us were to get caught, it'll probably be him. Hate to say it, but I mean, that's the truth. It's just, it stands out. But he's stock. Like, there's nothing else going on with his car. Same with the 2 Series in front of me, completely stock. And then my car as well, stock, as far as I don't have aftermarket wheels, I don't have an exhaust, I don't have any of that stuff. So it's one of those things to where you have to drive up ACH at your own risk. Now, granted, there are times that are more preferred. Like Sunday mornings, typically, if you get out early enough, like we just saw cyclists, right? There's a couple of people on the road right now, but it's not too busy. But once it gets later in the day, there are a lot of tourists that come through here. They want to go hiking. Maybe they want to go camping. Maybe they just want to go sightseeing. Just want to get out of the house, change of scenery. So there's a lot of civilian, just everyday people up here that aren't into driving fast and aren't into sports cars, are not enthusiasts. And when you mix that up in accidents with other people, that's where it gets bad. And so I can't blame law enforcement for trying to crack down on that. I mean, I would be upset too. So really, I think my point is, how do we distinguish each other, the differences, right? Honestly, I think it all comes down to just behavior and how you carry yourself. You know, not all officers are looking out to get you, but at the same time, if you are being a little bit of a hoonigan and you know what you can and can't do in front of an officer, so just act like this. If your mom's watching, would you act a fool, or would you try to behave a little bit? Just think of it that way. And I think a lot of the times, if like I was a kid, obviously I wasn't a troublemaker, so if I knew that my mom was watching me and I was trying to do something, probably won't do it. I think that's just how we have to behave up here. Don't do anything so extreme. Like, they know that we're coming up here to drive. They know that we want to enjoy the cars in this nature. But don't do too many wrongs at the same time. Like, if you're gonna go out and drive, just drive. Don't lane split. Don't cross the mustard. Don't speed overly excessively. Don't do burnouts. Like, just don't be obnoxious. I think that's really what it comes down to. Now, I'm just a random guy that enjoys driving. So take that with a grain of salt, as you will. But I've been around the block a few times, and I know that flying under the radar is your best bet. Try to be invisible while you're out here. If you can do your best to be invisible, then quite honestly, they probably won't pay attention to you if CHP sees you. So just think of it that way. The louder you are, the more you're doing an activity that will grab attention, then if you're thinking twice about it, then that's probably a sign that you should probably calm down a little bit. But don't go out in large groups of like 30 cars and then go out here revving the shit out of your car, doing donuts in the turnouts over here, or just being obnoxious, lane splitting, double laning, going around people and being like, a hooligan. Like, don't do that. But to each their own. I know that with Irwindale shutting down here in the LA area, that was one of the most popular racetracks here in the area, in the county, really. Even the surrounding counties, Orange County and Inland Empire. But if all these tracks that are local to us are closing down, we're only limited to the few racetracks that are very far on the desert, like Willow Springs, Buttonwillow, Chuckwalla. But that's also if you are a track driver, if you just want to get out there and go fast. But if you're someone that just wants to go drift, you still have to go far. If you're someone that wants to do drag racing, there's nowhere to do that I'm aware of, that's nearby. So of course, you're gonna see some individuals that just want to get out of their system, and they just have nowhere to put that energy, yeah, that's why takeovers happen. I'm not saying that that's an excuse. I'm just saying that when you have all that built up energy and nowhere to put it, and nowhere to go that's accepted, more than likely they're going to do it right in your backyard. So it's just an unfortunate situation to where our community, our cities, they don't really look at us as people that have an enjoyable hobby. They look at us as, oh, we're a nuisance. What can we do to get rid of them? So they don't really care about having drive parks like other places and other countries have, like Japan and Australia. They have dedicated areas where you can go and drive, and they know that people want to do it. Get it out of your system. If you have it, chances are they'll less likely do it on the street. But if you have nowhere to go, and it takes 2.5 hours to get to anywhere that you can actually do it on in a closed course, then most people just don't want to go that far to do it. So they rather rip it around locally in the city or here because there's so much attention. So that's my rant. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. If you're in the LA area, curious about your thoughts. If you're even not from the LA area, maybe you live somewhere else, let me know what you think. Oh, that was sick. Love it. Maybe you live in an area that's a little bit more secluded, but what is cop attention like? I'm actually really curious. I haven't, not in my own cars, I haven't experienced officers, state troopers, you know, CHP and other places. So, well, CHP are state troopers in other states, I should say. But anyway, for work, yes, I have encountered them, but that was for another story. When I was testing, doing long distance trips with Tesla, that was a whole other thing in itself. But it wasn't because I was doing something intentionally wrong. It was just because I had to do a very specific thing, and it got in the way of traffic at some moments. Ooh, FD. Porsche, looked like a GT3, that was sick. You know, originally, sorry Jimmy, I didn't think much of the 2 Series as far as aesthetics, but Jimmy has shared quite a bit with me about the designer of this car and his intentions with it. And it's a individual, I believe, from Mexico. And as a child, growing up, he would see the sky have different colors. So the color options came from his vision of what he saw in the sky. And then the body style, so I think he was fascinated with space and, you know, alien spacecraft and all that. I think some movies that he had seen, he mimicked the shape and design from something that would be from another planet, like a spaceship. So I thought that was pretty cool. So the more I look at that car, the more I actually like it. And it's because I actually understand a little bit more about why they design it a certain way. Color choices, little lines on the car, even the little light design, they all have a purpose, right? Some of it is heritage from the older models, some of it is influence from a new designer. I thought that was pretty cool. So for those of you guys that haven't watched my last track day, I actually got pretty high on oil temp, so definitely need an oil cooler, but I like that the weather's cool up here. It says it's 57 degrees outside. It was like 68 when we started, so I like it. It's getting cooler. Jesus, so many tire marks on the sides. Sweet, love it. Nice. I'm glad we're not the only ones enjoying this road this morning. So like I was saying, I was thinking about going with an oil cooler. I am heavily considering a Greddy. I think they call it the Greddy.
it's like some spec, like track spec or circuit spec or however they want to word it, because I know they have two different kits. One mounts directly in the middle of the bumper, right behind the grill. The other one offsets to the side, almost in the corner where the wheel well is. That way that hot air pulls out from the side of the wheel, then just has direct flow constantly. But I like it because it's in an offset corner, kind of tucked away behind the bumper. Doesn't have to get exposed to such cool air all the time. I feel like that's probably a bonus, because my main concern is driving every day. Not that I drive it every day, but driving on the street and it doesn't warm up properly. I know that there are other kits people have experienced below 170 degrees Fahrenheit oil temps, and that's not ideal for city driving. It's okay on track, because once the RPMs are high enough, your oil temps will naturally get hotter. Let me know if you guys run any oil coolers. I'm curious what you run, and if you what's up, GRC, if you run anything specific, and if you daily it, what are your oil temps like if you do actually look at them. There are a couple of other products being made that'll be under the hood coolers, and it's predominantly for the cooler climates like Canada, and they are actually both being developed in Canada. I'm just not sure how well it would do in our warmer climates, but it's meant to be the shortest route possible, and it is if I'm saying it correctly, water to oil type of cooler. It may be unpopular opinion, but I love this weather. California is always so sunny. Sometimes I get sick of it. No, I'm not complaining, because I know some of you live in other climates that you get snow and you can't drive your car, or you don't want to drive your car in the snow. I understand. Salt and, you know, rust and all that stuff is real. We don't really experience that much unless you live on the beach and you're on the beach all the time. Other than that, California cars typically don't see rust. But we always see sunshine, which is nice for driving because we can track all year round. We can pretty much do any activity all year round. But I just wish we got a little bit more rain, a little bit more weather. I would drift more, that's for sure. Save on tires. But those are just my thoughts. Again, not complaining. I do enjoy that I can just go out and drive at any time, like any condition, but whether it's a mountain road or track, but I probably still would do it even if it's raining. It doesn't bother me. After my last track day, I think it was earlier this year, maybe like springtime, I did a rainy day track day. That was cool. Really taught me a lot. And it was exactly what I had anticipated, mainly from simming. Did a lot of rain driving in the sim, and a lot of that did translate. Nice, starting to clear up. Looking pretty good. Man, it looks so beautiful. This is the other reason I like weather, because whenever the rain comes through, moisture, it just cleans up the road, it cleans up the sky, everything looks beautiful, air's fresh, engine is inducing, or I should say intaking cold air. It's just fresh. Look at that, just beautiful. I think only locals or people that drive this road are the only ones that are willing to drive in this condition. And as long as you understand these conditions, it's not bad. And I'm not saying that it's extremely dangerous. It's just a matter of understanding. Like, we drove over some moisture. We drove some parts of wet road where it was just like a creek coming down the road from the mountain. And you just got to know that if you hit that water, you might slip a little bit, depending on what kind of tire you have. Maybe you have a really soft 200 tread wear. Maybe it is a rain tire, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's an all season, maybe it's a no season. You just kind of have to know your car. be mindful of your limitations. Understand what the car's behavior is. Knowing the dynamics. This isn't the place to learn it. Now, with that said, when I was growing up, when I started driving, I did do this when I started driving, but it came with consequences because I made some oopsies and I crashed a couple times. And so I learned that way. But the unfortunate part is, now, with that said, I did it when nobody was around. It was nighttime, it was just me, it was a very secluded area. But, you know, nonetheless, sometimes that happens and you do crash. And if you're gonna do it somewhere where you're away from people, to where you're not gonna hurt anybody. That's just the more responsible thing to do. Just do it to where you don't hurt anyone. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and park this thing, turn this off.